Alright, hello YouTube. So today I'm going to be doing a little bit of a reaction video. Very recently I've been hearing a lot of kind of kerfuffle about Stanley Chapel. Before I get to that, I just want to say I'm not interested in like singling anyone out. I just feel like this is just kind of an interesting topic, so I don't want anyone who watches my content to go and flame Stanley, nor do I want anyone who watches my content to flame anyone else. So by watching this video, you're agreeing to not do that, and if you do that, I'm not responsible, because I don't want you to do that. So with that said, there's been a lot of kerfuffle about Stanley being toxic or something like that, and I'll be honest, I have not watched any of his recent content at all. In general, I really don't watch any YouTube cubing content, period. Yeah, I don't watch like any YouTube cubing anymore for the most part. There's like one channel I'm subscribed to who I'll like click on their videos sometimes. But other than that, like I just don't find YouTube cubing interesting, so I'm not really in the loop about a lot of this stuff. I have heard from some people that I trust that Stanley is being a little bit toxic, which, you know, maybe he is. I'm going to find out. But yeah, I'm basically just going to be fucking React Andy today, because, I don't know, I just feel like switch it up a little. I like to do new things. I like to see if people like different types of content. While I watch, I'm going to be eating a bowl of minced beef with a bit of cheese, and I've also got some chaga mushroom tea as well. I've become a tea person because I've decided that coffee does not work. With that said, let's start the video. I'm going to have some food, and I'll pause if I have something to say.
Okay, there we go.
All right, what's up, everyone? Today we are ranting about YouTube cubing. I'm joined by Andreas Vitalis.
What's up?
Yes.
I have no clue who
Andreas is. Let's have a little
by
discussion about this, and you know,
we'll see if he says
it'll be
anything
great.
interesting.
Yes.
So, yeah, basically, start off. I guess I could just give an overview of my thoughts on the state of the YouTube cubing community right now. So I currently see just a few types of channels that we can kind of address separately. So we have the like entertainment based channel that aims for like they aim to provide comedy or some other form of non-educational entertainment, like as Kit said, Cubehead and Cuban Encoded. Then there's like what
I don't think I would call Cubehead pure, and again, I don't watch enough of his stuff, but like the very few videos I have seen of Cubehead, like he's, at the very least, he seems capable of making informational content, so I don't know. And in general, I don't think you need to put cubers in like one box. Like, I think my videos can be entertaining. I also think they can be informational. They're definitely never well edited, so you can't put me in that box, I guess. But I don't know. But I mean, like, if you were forced to box them in, like, I don't know, maybe Cubehead is more entertainment than not. I really don't know. Again, I don't watch enough of his stuff, but whatever.
Considered to be the educational channels. There are two subtypes of these, but either way, you have like the like cubing like the solve based education like J McNeil, and the hardware education like Jperm. I consider that to be the same category though. And finally, the solve based channel like Max Park or Felix Zemdegs or Leo Borromeo, like myself, that's what I think. And the one I think where the most I think the one that everyone has the most thoughts on are the entertainment channels.
For sure.
And I think that's what we're mainly going to be focusing on today. So right now there are a few main people in this genre. So we have like Cuban Encoded, Cubehead, Jperm does some of these, and as well as people like DG Cubes and DirtCuber, who
I'm really surprised to hear Stanley put Jperm in the entertainment box. I really feel like Jperm is like at least like 90% informational. Maybe 90's a stretch, I don't know, but maybe that's just because like I'm like generally pretty impressed with like the informational stuff he does put forward. So I don't know. I don't really have much to say at the moment. I'm just gonna keep going and see if something comes up. Hello, brave ad.
Don't upload this sort of thing often, but it is something that they do. So, but yeah. But overall, also just thinking about, we can think about the demographic of the Cuban community. It's mainly, like 10 to 13 year olds.
Yep.
And entertainment channels are going to try to appeal to that sensibility.
Yeah.
So I feel like this is where people might start getting triggered unnecessarily. I honestly do not think Stanley has said anything. Granted, we're like 2 minutes into this. But like, he's right. Like, most Cubers are very young. 10 to 13, I think, is pretty accurate. Kids of that age, they like to be entertained. Maybe even too much, maybe to a fault, whatever. But that's what they like. That's what gets clicks. And, people who are in the YouTube game for that, they're going to appeal to that audience because it makes sense financially. Like, let's see where this goes.
Because that's what the 10 to 13-year-olds want. They're not as interested in learning about cubing as they are in just being entertained.
Right.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
This is also something, in attempting to achieve this sort of appeal, kind of also makes these people, fall short a little bit in terms of the making their communities behave well area. Unfortunately.
Okay, this is starting to get a little weird, not gonna lie. If people want to appeal to like a younger, arguably more immature audience who's less interested in improving, like, they can do that, and whatever consequences come from that, for example, having an immature audience, that's for them to deal with.
Fortunately. And I think a few examples of this are, Cuban Encoded. I'll talk about him for a second. He frequently talks about puzzles and events that he has no experience doing. And while, he has every right to talk about them, I'm not saying he shouldn't talk about them overall. He very much, at least to me, passes it off as if they're like, I haven't done them, so they're just kind of stupid, and I won't do it. Like, yeah.
And it creates that mentality with the fan base, because they're just going to share that opinion no matter what.
Right. Yes. These kids at these ages are very, very impressionable, and when a mentality like this is proliferated, it's kind of, it really does reflect on the community, and I don't know, it makes me a little bit uncomfortable.
Yeah, people who, are the most popular are going to have the most influence, and the people who cater to the largest number of cubers are going to be the people that get the most popular. And if we're talking about like the law of like averages and like, people on a bell curve, if you're trying to appeal to the largest number of people, you kind of have to, just have to dumb your content down a lot. Like, there's a trade-off there. And I don't think, I don't know, I get the impression that Stanley's like blaming these YouTubers a little bit more than he should, because the thing is, even if people like Cuban Encoded or whoever else didn't exist, like, someone else would be doing the same thing, because it's, it's a formula that's basically crack for 10 to 13-year-old kids, so, or 10 to 13-year-old cubers, I should say. So, like, I really don't think they're, like, responsible or anything. Not that I think Stanley's trying to say that. I don't know. I don't really know what to say at the moment. I don't think I'm going to try and watch this whole thing, because this is going to get long if I do. But I don't know. I don't think Stanley's saying anything horrible, honestly. I just feel like he's probably just frustrated that, you know, in order to get popular in cubing, it doesn't necessarily reward the things that, you know, faster cubers, you know, cubers like us, the things that we kind of value and care about, which, you know, it just kind of comes with the territory. We have to accept the fact that, you know, we're not going to be channels with 100,000 subscribers, because that's not what we do. You know, we're not trying to appeal to the largest number of people. We're trying to put forward content that we think, you know, is interesting and unique and, like, doesn't exist. So, like, that's our trade-off that we have to deal with. Let's see where this goes.
Let's see.
Yeah.
But
He's not. They don't actively try to make their community more interesting in cubing as a whole. They kind of keep.
And why do they need to? Like, I don't know. This kind of. This doesn't remind me of anything in particular, but I've heard, like, general complaints of, like, we need more of, like, this kind of content, or, like, we need more of that kind of content. Like, we just need people to do it all. Like, we need content for everyone. Some people want wholesome content. Some people just want to get a laugh. Some people want to learn stuff. And, you know, I don't know, some people want edgy, dank memes. Some people, like, there's endless things that cubers are going to be interested in within cubing. Like, we don't need more of this, that, or the other. We just, you know, we just need people to make what they want to make, and we just need to kind of understand that, like, you know, like Cubing Encoded, for example, like, I don't try to show him because, like, I'm not his target audience, and I know I'm not his target audience. So, you know, why would I complain about not liking his videos when he's not trying to make videos for me? Like, that to me just seems weird. And I'm starting to get a little bit of that energy from this video, so I don't know. If this feels like it's going in circles by, like, the 10-minute mark, I'm probably just going to stop, because I really don't want to make this a 2-hour video, even though I'm sure people would watch it and YouTube would pay me hella dollars for it. I don't really feel like doing that, but we'll see where this goes for the next 5.5 minutes.
Keep it just with their point of view, instead of trying to broaden them to all the facets of cubing.
Yeah. Let's see. Oh, I don't have an alert box, but thank you for the follow, Duplex.
So the thing about, like, trying to get them into other facets of cubing, like, it's not hard to find these different styles of content, you know? Like, if you want wholesome style content, you can find it very easily. I think Tingman probably does the best job of that at the moment. If you want, I don't know, something a little more entertaining, it seems like Cubing Encoded's, at least for the younger audience, does the best job of entertaining that group. And then if you're a bit older, maybe someone like Cubehead, or, you know, maybe me, when I make the occasional haha funny video. I don't know. Like, it's not that hard to find. I don't think YouTube channels need to be, like, all, like, well-rounded necessarily. Like, I know for a fact, like, I'm not as good at, like, I could learn to edit, obviously, like, it is just kind of a skill, but it's not something I'm interested in. I could absolutely make reviews, and I could make, like, unboxings, and I know exactly, like, what I would do to get 100,000 subscribers if I wanted to, but, like, I don't want to do the things that will lead to that. So, I don't know, maybe this is because Stanley Chappell's, like, an all-rounder, and he wants YouTube cubers to also be kind of all-rounders with how they do their content, but, like, not everyone wants to do that, you know? I guess the analogy is, like, some people in cubing, they don't care about being good at every single event, they just want to specialize, and, like, is there anything wrong with that? I don't think so. And then same with people that are into cubing, you know? Not everyone who gets into cubing wants to, like, become really good at it and, like, study it. They just want to, you know, play with the cube in between Fortnite matches and, you know, get the dopamine hit every time they get that PB or whatever. Like, and there's nothing, like, if that's all they want from cubing, like, again, there's really nothing wrong with that. It's a hobby, like, it's what you make it. So I don't think it's up to YouTube channels to, like, introduce these different facets of cubing to people. And I feel like if I try it, like, this is just, like, kind of a life thing in general. Like, if you try to please everyone, like, you know, everyone's just going to kind of have, like, a lukewarm impression of you. Whereas if you really focus on what you think you're really good at and what you're passionate about, then you're going to have a slightly smaller number of people who absolutely love you. Or maybe not slightly small, but you'll have, like, a group of people that either love you and then a group of people that hate you. Because, you know, the people that hate you, they want something else. You know, people that watch my videos, you know, there's some that love it and there's some that hate it. There's not very many that are, like, lukewarm about it. Because in general, I specialize on, like, only a few types of formats. I'll post, like, the occasional solve. I mostly try to upload, like, informational content, although most of that goes to the newsletter these days. And then sometimes I'll upload something funny if I feel like it, because, you know, why not? Food stuck in my throat. Nice. Well done. But yeah, cubing channels, like, we don't need to be good at everything. In fact, I think there's a lot of value in finding your niche within cubing. Like, find out what you're passionate about within cubing, not just cubing as a general term, but, like, within it. And just focus on that. You know, you can do little bits of other stuff, but, you know, like, for example, like, I'm doing a React video now, again, just kind of mix it up. But I'm not going to become a React channel because I don't want to become a React channel. I don't think that I can put my best foot forward and leave, like, the best mark on the community by becoming React Andy. I think I can do that by, you know, posting my, like, informational content and things that I find out and discover within cubing as far as, like, getting faster is concerned. And then maybe as a secondary thing, I could put forward, like, you know, haha funny videos from time to time. But I don't think that's my specialty either. I think it's really just, like, informational type stuff with a little bit of that sprinkled in. If you try to be good, this is another thing, if you try to be good at everything, like, if you're the kind of person that has, like, 5 hobbies, like, you're gonna probably just be, like, mediocre at best at all 5 of them. And I think mediocre is even pretty generous. There was an old saying I heard, it's like, you can be great at one thing, really good at 2 things, but then beyond that, like, you're just gonna be spreading yourself too thin. So I don't know. I like people that specialize. And if it happens to be specializing in entertaining 10 to 13-year-olds, you know what? So be it. I'm fine with it. In fact, it's actually a pretty smart idea if you're trying to make money.
GD, and thank you for the raid, Cube776. But yeah, I definitely agree. I think there's, you know, a lot of strong but uninformed opinions that get shared by a lot of these people, and it unfortunately does not, you know, transfer over to...
If you think that's bad, you should see most people's political opinions. Just throwing that out there. You know, it's not just a cubing thing. People in general are opinionated about things that they don't know anything about. Okay, I know people who are, like, anti-vaxxers that have never read a scientific paper in their entire life. I also know anti-vaxxers that have read, like, many of them, but you get the idea. And then the same can be said about people on the other side of the argument, like pro-vaxxers who haven't read shit, and pro-vaxxers that have read a lot. So it's not a cubing specific problem. You know, you're gonna find that once you're in the real world, this is just kind of how it goes. People are very opinionated about things, even when they don't know what they're talking about. And, you know, I'm probably guilty of this myself. Like, I can be aware of it and still do it. I think it's just kind of a human thing. I try to be open-minded and, like, not have an opinion. Ugh. Of course, I can't go one video without burping. I try to not have a strong opinion if I genuinely haven't researched something much, but, like, I'd be lying if I said, like, I've never put forward a strong opinion on something just because I read, like, I don't know, like 1 or 2 comments on the internet from people I generally trust who, you know, at the end of the day are people, therefore they're imperfect, because human beings are not perfect, because we're humans. Do I really want to watch 5 more minutes of this? I'll give it 2 more minutes. 2 more minutes. This is already close to 20, so let's see.
He has a very, very large community as well, and so a lot of people are being exposed to these sort of thoughts, and I'm not editing that, kid.
Yeah, and for example, if you guys like the whole clock is bad thing, like that's mostly from YouTubers just saying that it's bad and not people actually trying it and not liking it.
I've tried it, and virtually everyone I know who's tried clock, including most of the world-class solvers, agree it's bad. This really isn't relevant to the video at all, but like, seriously, clock is turning and look ahead. And like, something maybe slightly more advanced than the beginner's method. As far, like, if we want to talk about like depth and like intricacy of events, like, clock is about as deep as a kiddie pool. Like, once you get your feet in, you're like, you know like 80% of what you need to know. I don't know why I felt the need to say that. I don't know if Stanley agrees with me or not, but like, I don't necessarily think clock should be removed, but I also don't think clock is a very deep event. I think if you have the right hardware, you'd learn how to turn the damn thing. You understand how look ahead works, and you understand like efficiency and just making smart moves. Other than that, you basically just do solves. It's similar to big cubes, kind of, but I feel like comparing clock to big cubes is pretty insulting to big cubes, because there is a lot you can do with like centers, edges, blah blah blah. Whatever.
There is definitely a case to not like clock. It's okay to not like something. There's nothing wrong with that on its own.
Thank God.
But the problem is people who've never tried it who hate on it.
Right. There these channels make jokes about clock at the expense of the event and its solvers. And
I mean, this just goes back to what I said, like, very few people are above like having strong opinions on shit they haven't tried. Like, again, see politics. Politics is pretty much this in a nutshell. Or anything else you can think of. Like, yeah, people just, it's just what we do. We're very good at having strong opinions on things that we don't know about, because, I don't know, we want to form tribes, and we want to, fit in with our people, because, I don't know, that's how we find self-identity or some philosophical shit like that. I'm not gonna act like a philosopher. Like, this is just what people do, okay? People just do this shit, and it is frustrating, I agree. I hate when people, like, have a strong opinion on something they don't know anything about. This is why I left Cubic's friends. Well, actually, this is why I left Facebook. And pretty much all of social media. Like, I still have Instagram, but I don't use it. Like, I unfollowed everyone, so, the kind of, the dopamine feedback cycle crap, like, I have no reason to use it, so I'm pretty much off social media because of that. Just a little fun fact, but we'll see where this goes. I'll finish my chaga tea, and then if this is going nowhere, I'll just end the video.
Thank you for the
said that like 5 times, but
and it makes these kids kind of really believe that they're right based on a joke, that this opinion is correct based on a joke, and they develop prejudice toward events.
This just in: people are idiots. Story at 11.
Yeah, for sure. And another facet, I'd say, of misinformation on these entertainment channels is that they often will talk about things that they don't quite understand yet.
For sure. And I think a good example of this is one of the biggest, some of the big tutorial channels. One that comes to mind is Jperm with advanced 3-blind stuff.
Okay, I might actually end up watching a lot more of this, because there clearly are some subtopics to talk about. I think I jumped the gun saying, like, if this is going, like, yeah, I think I'm gonna watch most of this. I agree. Jperm, like, I love you, but like, I don't know, when it comes to advanced three blind stuff, I would be careful with what you teach people, maybe. But I mean, you can post whatever you want, and like, I don't know, like it's your platform. You can do what you want with it, but I kind of agree that it is good to kind of recognize like what you're good at and kind of stay in your lane to an extent. Stay in your lane, kid. So yeah, like that's why I don't post too much like non 3x3 content anymore. Like, I think a while ago I posted some like 4x4 type stuff, and it was pointed out to me like, you know, you can actually do this, that, and the other, and these are like way better. And I was like, okay, yeah, those videos are pretty stupid. And because I really don't touch 4x4 often, like I just don't make 4x4 videos because that's not what I'm best suited to, and I don't feel like I can do that topic justice, so I don't talk about it. Then again, it's a bit trickier when you're a bigger channel, like when you're Jperm and, you know, people are like, hey, can you teach me 3-blind, because they don't want to like move away from the Jperm brand. Like, I get that whole thing, but like, I don't know, when people come to me like that and like I'm not just ignoring their question, I'll usually be like, you know, go check out this person instead. They're the person you want to look into if you're interested in this topic. You don't need me to talk about it to be able to learn it, you know? So I mostly agree with where I think Stanley's going to go with this.
Yeah, and so to give an example, one thing that he said in his tutorial about floating buffers is that your buffer must be solved in order to float. And this...
That's not true.
Let's not even examine the upfront, you know, falsehood of this.
Well, that's what I did.
And just examine the fact that this ignores any nuance that could possibly go into such a thing. And
yeah,
it really kind of, you know, discredits high level 3.
Drinking game for people at home. Take a shot every time Andreas says yeah. So I'm 7 minutes into this and I'm already kind of noticing it. TBH. So I agree with Stanley to an extent. Like, the thing is, like, people, you know, some people don't want all of the nuance up front. Like, I think if you're a relatively, like, new Cuber, like, a good portion of my channel isn't going to make sense, especially if you're only looking at, like, my recent videos and haven't, you know, you aren't familiar with, like, some of my older videos, like, why look-ahead videos suck, or why this, that, and the other. Which I might have to make, like, remakes of those videos, because I could make them a lot better and more concise, even with that, like, even with my lack of editing skills. But there's a time and a place for both. Like, I get why Stanley's frustrated, though. Like, people can get, like, you know, dumb ideas from stuff like this, but there's also a place for, like, leaving out the nuance and just kind of, you know, simplifying things so that, you know, they kind of get it. What is my cat scratching? Jesus fucking Christ. I was going to say something, I forgot. I think in the case of, like, 3-blind floating buffers, like, that's such an advanced technique that, like, I'm just going to go ahead and say I agree with saying, like, if you need, like, a dumbed down version of, like, 3-blind floating buffer stuff, like, you probably just shouldn't be looking into 3-blind floating buffers. Like, that sounds harsh, but, like, really, like, that's an advanced technique. Like, imagine making, like, a dumbed down version of, like, ZBLL tutorials. Like, that ZBLL is not something beginners need to, like, worry about. They can look into it for, like, interest purposes, but, you know, if you're really looking to learn it, like, you can't really take the dumbed down approach, because, like, some things in cubing just, I think, shouldn't be dumbed down. I think floating buffers is probably one of them.
Blind solving, among other things. Like, more importantly, it really gives young kids, like, the impression that, like, oh, 3-blind solving just comes down to doing X, Y, and Z. And
yeah,
it's one of the most, you know, there's a lot of creativity that goes into solutions, and
Yeah, it's not as robotic as they
Right.
try to make it out to be.
But yes, as has been said in chat, Jperm kills creativity, and I think this is also not only apparent in tutorials where he, might not know quite as much about what he's talking about, but even in his like F2L in 6 minutes tutorial or whatever it was,
Yeah.
that it was very, very formulaic, but it was formulaic but not optimal. So
Uh-huh.
I mean, I feel like he's being a little harsh here. Like, you can't be creative until you kind of have to be robotic first. You can't start off with like nuance. You got to start with like, this is how you can get from point A to point B. Like, in my course Speedcubing Solution, I literally teach how to do beginner F12, and it's literally as formulaic as like, get the two pieces into the U layer using like RU2 R prime. Basically something that's like idiot proof. And then like from there I have like a flowchart that's similar to like get them separated, and then a flowchart that again is pretty idiot proof that, it works. It's not great, but it works. And as long as it works and it gets them doing F12, then they can start filling in the nuance. So for something like F12, I don't mind like an F12 in 6 minutes video. But like, again, like the floating buffer thing, like, yeah, that's kind of stupid, not gonna lie.
yeah, and I've had experiences with people learning F2L who just could not learn in that way. You need something more that shows you these are the base cases, these are the ways you can get to it. Like,
But also another thing is they don't encourage like creativity.
Yeah.
They never say, "Oh, this is one way you could do it," but
Yeah.
you can experiment a bit and try to find another way that might work better for
Yeah.
you in some cases.
yeah, and it doesn't encourage any, thinking of the solves. And also,
I think people who want that kind of creativity, like, they're gonna go out and find it. I'm gonna end the video with this, because I do think this is probably a much more interesting rant than, like, people are saying, Of course people are overreacting. What would I expect from the cubing community? But no, I think, you're putting forward robotic content for, like, fairly basic stuff. Like, F12 is pretty basic. Floating buffers isn't. I'm not going to talk about that anymore, because I feel like, Stanley mostly hit the nail on the head with that one. But, like, you can just teach them a robotic way, and, like, if they have a real interest in cubing, they're going to, like, watch example solves, and they're going to watch, like, people do solves, and they're going to realize, like, if they want to get faster, they need to move beyond the robotic way. And as long as they have that interest and that drive from the fact that they know that they're being robotic and that they know that there is a better way, they will seek out the creativity. And if they discover that, for whatever reason, Jperm can't offer that, which, to be honest, I think he can to an extent. Again, I don't watch enough of his videos to really know, but, as long as they, like, learn it to begin with, they're either going to seek out the creativity because they want to, or they're just going to be the cuber that plays cube between Fortnite games while, sitting at a computer 8 hours a day. And if that's all they want to do, that's all they want to do. Like, I believe a lot of cubers really just aren't that interested in getting super good at cubing. If that were the case, the most popular channels would be... Actually, that's kind of a lie. Like, Jperm is pretty popular. And I feel like he's mostly informational. But, like, if that was the case, like... I don't know. I'll end on this, because I feel like I'm not really explaining my thoughts properly with that last bit. How do I want to put this? I just forgot what I was going to say. God. Okay, this is what I'm going to say. I think everyone kind of wants to get fast at cubing in the same way that everyone wants to win the lottery, or like everyone wants to be a millionaire. Less people, a very small amount of people within that group of people, want to do the things that will make them fast at cubing, or do the things that will make them a millionaire. Another example, like, gaining a bunch of muscle mass and having, capped delts, massive quads, and all that. I think everyone deep down, if they're not bullshitting themselves, they want that. Maybe not like Arnold Schwarzenegger or anything, but, like, again, you're not going to getting that big does not happen by accident. So fuck anyone who says like, oh, I want to go to the gym, but I'm afraid of getting too big. Like, shut up. You're full of shit. Yeah, everyone, if they're not bullshitting themselves, they want to have a good looking body. Not everyone wants to do the things that will give them that big body or that good looking body. And that's just kind of the state of things. You know, everyone wants these things. Everyone wants, you know, hot girlfriend or boyfriend who worships them or whatever. Maybe not worships them, but like, you know, like whatever their idea of the perfect partner is. Everyone wants great looking body. Everyone wants more money than they need. Everyone wants to have great, you know, interpersonal relationships. Everyone wants a nice house. And then the people that are into cubing, everyone wants to be the, you know, I don't know, sub 6 at 3x3, or, you know, the world record holder in every event. I don't know, people that are into like Tetris, everyone wants to be, you know, the world record holder for 40 lines or whatever. Everyone wants to be good deep down, but not everyone wants to do the shit that'll get them there. And I don't know, if there's one thing I want you, the viewer, that's you, you're watching this right now, if there's one thing I want you to take away, be honest with yourself. Do you actually care about being, and when I say care, like, are you willing to do what it takes to be as good at cubing as, you know, you fantasize in your dreams? Like, if you're someone who goes to bed and you dream about getting the world record or getting this result or winning this big competition, like, because I feel like most people watching this video are pretty smart and they understand like what it does take to get good. Like, are you willing to do what it takes? And if you're not, because you don't want to go through that process, and I'm actually mostly in that camp these days, I have different goals because, you know, I'm getting older and my priorities just, you know, if I want to have a good life, my priorities need to change. So I'm not willing to do the things that will get me faster at cubing because of my priorities. But if you're a bit younger, you know, you can have different priorities. So let me know down in the comments about that. This is nearly 40 minutes long. There's probably a lot more that Stanley gets into. There's like 50 more minutes of this, but I feel like I've put forward enough interesting points and counterpoints to give you something to chew on. Bottom line, people trying to cancel Stanley over, you know, wanting to not be a Cubing Encoded or a Cube Salt Hero or anyone else, like, again, that's fine. Like, he might just need to realize, like, those channels, you know, he's not their target audience. And just like, you know, someone like me, I'm not their target audience, and someone who just wants to solve the cube and get a dopamine hit without, you know, really thinking, you know, they're not my target audience. And that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Yeah, don't try to cancel people. Let him do what he wants, and, you know, whatever consequences come from it, you know, if he's really that bad, which from the 8 minutes that I watched, I really don't think he's that bad. But if he is, or he gets bad, then the consequence will be people won't want to join his community because, you know, most people aren't, you know, interested in being toxic. Okay? Alright, I'm gonna head out. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one.